Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everyone this fine bull market? Are we all winning? We all caught this move like everyone else on Twitter, I presume? In fact, I was max long 100x, every single one of my accounts. No, not at all. Better for the peaceful music? Would be silly to fade the Saudis. Yeah, the seventh bottom in this wonderful range. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'll call a trend when I see a trend. This is definitely not a trend. I mean, I'll go through my thoughts in a bit, but it's quite glorious watching the sentiment flip-flop on Twitter. Full portfolio, but TP'd after a dollar move, mate, that is my entire portfolio. So that's a 2x right there. Saudis keep buying. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Waiting for a short. Oh, that's interesting. How many other people are waiting for shorts? I feel like general sentiment is if you miss the long, you're now looking for short opportunities, rather than looking for potential higher lows and trend reversals and stuff like that. Wait for a short. Rather not fade trend, unless it's showing weakness. Yeah, exactly. But is this a trend right here? Is that what we're looking at? The start of a new bull run, straight to all-time highs. Bonjour cringe. Shake it till you make it, my friend. Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in a sec, but it's always good to see where people are. Still in range, yeah. I mean, that's kind of my high time frame view. Spoiler alert, not much has changed. Had some nice pops across the board, which we'll go over, but yeah. Well, firstly, let's kick things off. So thank you to Delta Exchange for sponsoring this. Now, if you were an absolute Chad, you could have played some short option expiries on your favourite Sol or AVAX, bought some nice calls and been up reasonable amounts of money. It's something I'm looking to do. It's something I did try last week, and my calls were too short dated, unfortunately. But I'll go through how I'm trying to look at using options and yeah, see if I can come up with a decent strategy for taking some short dated call options and getting silly multiples out of them. What RSI indicator is that? Oh, that is one of the first. It's KZX, RSI and div. I should just have that as like a standing thing. It's pretty good. It's not super clean, it just helps me visualise and be slightly lazier in my identification of extremes. But yeah, let's start with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's always fun. I mean, not much has changed if you watch my previous streams from my thought process. We're still kind of sat in this range. We've just come out of it. I don't think, from a daily perspective, too much has changed. You know, I'm not going to be bullish. I completely missed this move up. Generally because I don't trade weekends, and we had the same last weekend, that we had a nice push on a Monday, and then the rest of the week was pretty bearish. Now, I wonder if we're going to get similar with this week, particularly with inflation numbers later on. I'm not positioning off that solely, but yeah, currently I'm flat on BTC. My only position is an RSR long, which I'll talk about in a bit. And yeah, for me, you know, I'm not in any position on BTC. I don't plan on getting on any position in BTC anytime soon. You know, I kind of want a simple break of this level or this level. That's it. I'm not going to fuck around intraday on BTC this week, I don't think. I'm going to look to play alts on an intraday basis and see what they can give me. That's kind of it. I mean, there's some interesting kind of stuff from a trend perspective. So if you are an EMA trend trader, you know, we are closing up on that 200 EMA. Interesting if we can see some strength, a flip of it, and you know, I'm sure EMA traders will be over the moon. Personally, I don't trade like that, but I always like to look at little interesting areas of confluence, particularly when, you know, people have been quite supportive of these indicators that I've published, which is always nice, isn't it? From a sort of lower time frame Bitcoin perspective, then, I mean, I've drawn some meme lines on it. Let's get rid of this, shall we? And I wonder if we can get back up here. Like I said, I'm not actually playing BTC, but what I am doing is keeping an eye on BTC from a momentum perspective, particularly between the hourly and 4 hourly, to manage or micromanage some of my altcoin positions, which I do a lot through Spaghetti anyway, but what I don't want to see is some moves up and divergences in momentum, because then I would be getting out of essentially my RSR long and any other alt long positions I've played. Any chance we can go down to 28k again? There's always a chance. Always a chance we can go anywhere. There's a chance we can go to 0. I would have thought that things like Luna would show people that, you know, not that I think Bitcoin and Luna is a fair comparison necessarily, but there's always a chance that anything can happen in this market, right? Yeah, I'm quite prepared for Bitcoin. How would it play out? Well, what would happen is the number would go down to about 28,000. Sorry, I had to be slightly facetious. More sellers than buyers. No, I mean, I personally think that if we lose this area, let's zoom out properly. So from a larger macro perspective, then, you know, we've been up here for what? Best part of a year and a half. Right, we've managed to maintain price consistently above 28,400. I honestly think that was a nice little stop hunt of all of this. You know, everyone thinking their stops were nice and safe. But we continually test that area. We've tested that area a few times now. And I think if we genuinely, like, let's say we rolled over here, right? Let me just delete some of these squiggles. You know, if we can't get above this, form a high, and we just roll over here, you know, I'm probably short a breakdown of this quite aggressively if we lost that, because that to me says that the strength of the bulls is gone. There are no willing buyers left. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but you know, if we did lose this level here, I would be quite happy to just mark it into a breakdown. And for me, a lot of what I do is I do try and think out scenarios like that. I think on the last stream I kind of talked about it as, you know, if we get this, what am I going to do? Obviously you don't know at this point in time. Let's do this. If you get this, you get a sort of consolidation above this previous range. Are you just going to buy some spot there? Is that what you're going to do with an invalidation below? If you get a sort of under over, is that where you go, well, we've cleaned out the stops here, it's starting to get a bit messy, but you've cleaned out the stops here and now you think there's going to be continuation? You know, how are you going to position based on what's going to potentially going to unfold? Yeah. Does that make sense? So I don't know how or if we'll get to 28k. Like, genuinely, my bias for the short to medium term is bearish. You know, I don't think there's going to be much in the ways of catalysts, in the way of risk on. It's going to be interesting to see the open today. Or the New York Open, sorry. You know, I don't see what's going to make crypto hugely risk on at this point in time. But equally, are you in a rush to position short after what we've just had, which is, you know, an incredible drawdown? I'll just do high to low, 63% from peak to low. Hey, Merwin. It's too late. Oh, it's too late to apologise. Yeah. Some of the references that you guys do are great. I kind of don't realise what's on as I'm yammering. But yeah, as long as Bitcoin can behave, I think there's going to be some opportunity on altcoins, as there usually is, for some nice degeneracy. You know, structurally. Let's just delete some of this rubbish because it does my OCD. You know, we're starting to see AO potentially cross. It'd be nice to see a strong spot led move up. And if you can start building a nice market structure, then I could be convinced to buy some spot. Or vice versa. But I'm just not diddling here. Unless, you know, I'm better at this wonderful stuff, the old spaghetti. And someone said, am I happy that rune's on top of it? No, not at the moment actually. And I'll tell you my logic. I think last stream I covered off kind of a high time frame view of rune. I still think it's got this pivot around sort of 3.2, 3.3 that, like, for me to be objectively macro bullish on it, as opposed to in love with one of my spot bags. You know, I cannot be a buyer of spot until we've done something like this and consolidated and cleared it. But yes, as you all will know, I'm a big fan of rune, and I have made significant gains from it. Such a soothing voice. Yeah, I wish my wife said that. Might be time for some KuCoin degeneracy. Oh, do you know what? I've been through so many different trading styles, right? And it's probably one of my biggest faults in that, how do I put it? I've never really honed and focused on one of them, but I think my two favourite periods of trading were the absolute scummy low cap coins on like BSC and ETH, Uniswap, like when it originally came out, and NFT trading. Now, NFT trading, not so much actually the trading element, but the researching the projects, the trying to get on the whitelists, the different games you had to do to be able to be eligible to like mint an NFT. There was one called the Door or something where you had to like go through all these puzzles, and it was quite clever. I mean, the NFT was shit and it tanked and died, but it was a it was a good intro process. So yeah, I'd be quite down for a KuCoin season or something of that ilk. But yeah, I mean, for now, rune, I mean, it's had a nice bounce. Is this going to be it? Potentially. So diving into lower time frames. It's not very clean levels wise. But yeah, there is all this space for it to move if it does actually really start going. And obviously, BTC and macro could jump in and completely fuck that. You know, for me to take a fresh position on this, I would have to. I'll just delete these lines because it's relatively useless you know, it would have to do something like that and go and consolidate above. But I just, who knows if it will. As far as I'm concerned, I've missed this pump, I've missed this 13%. Was it particularly obvious? Well, from a AO perspective, no. See it on daily. I mean, there were definitely better trades out there, I think. But yeah, that's kind of rune for me. And obviously, I had the opportunity to sell significant amounts of rune at $20, and I've bag held some, which is glorious. You don't know the feeling of being a community member until you're 80% down. Satanic rituals to go on the whitelist. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing when it was the full frenzy. You know, people were just going mad, and the things that you'd have to do to go on whitelists were great. It was just funny watching people scramble. You know, I had limits. I wasn't gonna take a photo of me with a teaspoon on my head or whatever. Some of them were, but yeah, it's just a different time. How do you keep up to date with macroeconomics on a day-to-day? News sources, individual notes. There's a Forex calendar, which is really good. There's people on Twitter who I follow, so people like TraderXO, who Macro Alf, who have very good overviews of the macro. It's not something that I track particularly. I'm trying to learn and understand more of it, but it's definitely not my area of forte. Definitely not. 80% down, you become a maxi. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, but I think, you know, I was what, 100x up, so I made significant gains from it. I traded it several times quite well if I don't, you know, psych myself off. So it's there's a balance, isn't there, between having conviction about a play and becoming a maxi, and I think it can be difficult to balance those two things, because I mean if you look at, like, what was it, Hex? I mean, I tweeted a photo of Richard, whatever his name is, this morning, and this is where I realised that my entire audience are Hex maxis. You know, there were people shilling Hex in my replies down here. Now, I called them absolute, you know, so-and-sos, but really, kind of, if they managed to pull that off and pull that out of their ass, they've just done pretty well for themselves. So there's one thing being, you know, an educated investor and a potential evangelist about a project, and there is another thing being an absolute asshat. And it tends to be quite a difficult balance for people to arrive at. But you know, that kind of conviction can do you really well. So-and-so's is such a mum insult. I know, it's terrible. Nice to see you, dear. I know. I got a 6-year-old daughter, so I've got to kind of curb it back a little bit, you know what I mean? I don't want one of the first words to be the C word, although that is quite a British thing. A bottle of water. Be retarded when others are retarded? Exactly, Magus. Like, that's kind of it. It's like, well, I've said it before that sometimes, like, the community and the hype do actually make things like this happen. I mean, look at things like Safe Moon, look at things like Shib, you know, absolutely zero utility, just pure community and hype driven. Richard Hart deserves jail. I mean, you'd have to catch him first in his realm of assorted fast cars. Spaghetti tutorial, please. There's actually one on YouTube, mate. But I'll talk about spaghetti in a minute. People said price pump, but volume low is a scam pump. Is it true? Yes and no. I mean, it just implies that books are thin and that it takes a small amount of volume to push through and push price up. To be fair, I made money on hacks. Nice. I actually, I was going to say invested then. Fuck me, that's a pretty loose and liberal use of that word. I bought something called Titano on BSC because my mate said, I'll put $1,000 in it, because of the APRs I'll be a millionaire in 6 months, and that's him, he doesn't really have $1,000, so I did $1,000 each, and it was actually one of the best performing alts in the kind of rundown. So in this move here, it was quite funny really. I gave him his cut when it was, I think it was about 7k each. So yes, outperformed 99% of Twitter on a complete scam. And that is not me saying go and invest in scams, not at all. Just before you go, I watched Charlie's stream and I lost it all on Shiba Dog Kaminu 69 because the community was great. Don't play cults. Yeah, that's probably the best way of putting it. I know you can't give financial advice, but if price is going up, could you just say price is going up? And if it's going down, just say price is going down. Yeah, I guess. Just live commentary of the chart. Just literally 5 seconds. I can't even say we've got a green or red candle printing. I think Osaka once said it'd be interesting to get someone giving a live commentary of like the 1 second chart. Not that I'm going to do it right now, but could you explain on how low volume can still pump price? Yeah, I can give you a really easy example. Let's say I have 1 Bitcoin and the current price is 31,400. Let's say no one else wants to sell their Bitcoin ever because they're all going to hold to infinity next moon cycle, and then someone steps in and says, actually I'll sell mine for 32,000. Like, that's it. So if you want Bitcoin, you've got to pay $32,000 for it because that's the only available Bitcoin. Now, I'm not saying that's happening in the order books right now, but if you have a thin order book compared to a thick one, it takes a lot less volume to move price up. And that's it. But assume that was the only Bitcoin available at $32,000, and people wanted to buy Bitcoin more than they wanted to just market sell it at this price or wherever the resting orders were. So that's what people mean by scam pump. Can I go over different ways to use volume in basic strategies? No, because I'm not a volume trader. Whilst I have this over here, I'm not a solid volume trader. If you want a solid volume trader, then follow Trader Magus, because he does all that wonderful Juju, order, Tetris, flow stuff, and volume. I prefer momentum, I prefer narrative, and I prefer strength and spaghetti. I suppose I'll talk you through my RSR trade, actually. That'll probably give you an idea of sort of how I trade. So it's going to be, let's go back. It's a good time for this to die, isn't it? So what I tend to do, and I use spaghetti, so this is simply a comparison of every asset's performance across this period of time, so whatever you're filtered on. So if I change it like this, it changes. If I zoom in, zoom out, change time frame, etc. That is their performance since this point here. So 3rd of June, 2150 at the moment. Now, when I was looking at this, I basically zoom in on a low, which is there, and I start saying what has got strength. And you can see quite blatantly that the orange is BTC and blue is RSR. So RSR has had pretty consistent strength on every single dip, and it is, the way I look at it, is it's one of the fastest horses to come out of the race. So, or to come out of the starting line after we get a Bitcoin dip. Because remember, all altcoins are essentially leveraged Bitcoin. So RSI is on my list. Now, I can't just trade off that. I kind of need a chart. I actually need some levels or something to work with, probably beyond the 1 minute chart. Now, I've basically assumed, so I longed it in here, and I essentially assumed that what we were going to get was a change in market structure. So I built a position in here, and I'm still in that position. From a higher time frame perspective, that would have been a good point to hedge, not just out of hindsight lab, just out of points of interaction. But we can see that it's been one of the stronger in play holds, so that's why I want to build a position in it. Yeah, that's kind of it. We like the Magus. Yeah. The Magus is very different trading style to me, and his stuff is wonderfully good. But he, for example, caught AVAX long, which I've done some moonlines on, just for your delight and delectation, and Sol. So, sort of preempting the move and positioning for it, as opposed to trying to identify high beta in play coins and joining a trend, which is what I'm doing more of at the moment, purely because I do not have a good read of let's get rid of all that crap, of how to swing altcoins at this point, because I just don't want to. I just don't think it's the right conditions for swinging altcoins at the moment. So I'm very in and out on an intraday basis. It's so interesting that I was hearing $20 Sol when it's local bottom, now it's up 12%. Yeah, I mean that tends to be the way though, right? Is that it's kind of that whole cliche meme of maximum fear, maximum opportunity and all that kind of crap. But if you start zooming out on Sol, from a daily perspective, you actually had quite a clear shift in momentum across this. Yeah, price down, momentum up, and that's what Magus was looking at. A confluence across these lows. No, I certainly didn't take this trade, but fair play. I think that's kind of. I think that's one of the big differences in my personal trading, is that I'm less preemptive and more reactive. So I'm more involved in. So whilst what I'll do is I'll do plans. You know, if we get the breakdown, set an alert, walk away. Alert pops up. Okay, we're breaking down. We're losing that level, or we've gained that level, or whatever it might be. Then look for triggers to enter said position. If obviously a breakdown of a level isn't my simple entry trigger. So talking about Bitcoin earlier, for example, if we lost this, you know, it's really simple for me. Alert down here, maybe further. Actually, I've got constant alerts. I've got loads of old shit, but under inner counter channel bands and over them, they are typically on lower time frames, like hourly, because they give you quick alerts that identify extremes. Music's quite loud. I'll turn it down now, boys. There you go. Is that better? Excellent. Yeah, one thing I'm doing a lot more in these conditions is size on, size off, like very, very quickly. So I really don't want to give back much. I'm being quite stingy. Look at all these arrows, what a mess. What a mess. Let's just get rid of all this. Hello. So yeah, I'm sizing on, sizing off quite quickly. and if my view of the market is wrong, e.g. you're playing something on a simple market structure basis, flip a support, momentum into that, blah blah blah, then if we start losing that level, I'll be straight out. I'm being very, very conservative at the moment. Very, very conservative. Thanks, just wanted to share your pain. Yeah, I think I'm going to move over to Binance for trading, actually. Yeah, I mean, everyone's getting quite excited about this move, obviously. I mean, I just find it... yeah. Bull market confirmed, boys and girls. Think any other exchange token can do as well as BNB? Well, I mean, I own some FTT, I own some BNB, I own some DITO. But whether they can all do as well as BNB, especially at this point, who knows? You have to kind of think about what part of the cycle are we at. So even if you do the whole Wall Street cheat sheet meme, and you say it was something like that, and what part of this are we at from an investment perspective? Now, I think we're about here. I think we've still got a reasonable amount of pain to go. I don't think we've seen proper capitulation, and I don't think we're in that kind of space where you will be getting entries that you will be looking back on in 5-6 years time and going, wow, that changed my life. That was like buying Sol at $1. I don't think we're there. That's my personal view, But I would encourage every one of you to have a look and think about where in a cycle we may or may not be. Now, plenty of people think we are, here. Or we've just had that dip. We're there. That's fine. Short money, do what the fuck you want. Speculate as you see things. That's not where I am. But doesn't mean you can't make some good trades. Doesn't mean I'm bearish on crypto long term. Not at all. The complete opposite. Okay, talk a little bit about how you trade using Keltner channels. Well, I don't really use them anymore apart from for alert purposes, and that's because these have got alerts built in them, so you can just add alerts over in a band, under in a band, etc. And you can use them to signal when price on a particular asset is in an extreme. So if you said, right, I want to short Sol, so I'm looking for, let's say, some RSI divs. Not particularly clean, this is what I mean. It's kind of there, but it's kind of a bit wonky, isn't it? Although I wouldn't take this. But you've got this kind of confluence of, you're in an extreme of a KCB. Again, that's not great, but I wouldn't take this trade, but let's pretend it was nice and clean, right? And you can say, well, I've got this extreme of a Keltner band, I've got declining momentum, let's say it looked like that instead, and let's say this div was actually clean, so a pretty shit example, but it's just that extra piece of confluence and the ability to set alerts. Like I said, the only thing I've got it on for at the moment is BTC. So hopefully that makes sense. It's the same with kind of any band, really. All they're trying to do is work out some form of mean or distance from an EMA or something like that, and tell you essentially what's a likely point of mean reversion. And it has to be taken in context, obviously, with the rest of the market, because if you were using KCBs to try and fade or even try and long, I mean, look, this is it. Like, if you were trying to long every move, yeah, okay, you might get some rotations to the mean, but if you're treating it as a swing system, you're going to get fucked. Does that make sense? Have I answered your question? It's essentially trying to identify extremes. So this is kind of what I was looking to see how the NAS is going to open this week. Certainly something to keep an eye on. I know BSC helped move BNB up a lot. I think NFT, FFT and Crow, maybe Hopium. Yeah, maybe, but I think the big thing for me, like, well, one is token utility, two is chain adoption, which, you know, I haven't looked, but I'm going to guess that the number of active users on most chains is down. It's probably down quite significantly. So when you're talking about adoption and narrative driving price action, like, you're probably looking at a chart that goes like that, right? Probably actually like that. I don't know, like I say, I'm just guessing, but we'll see. Yo Charlie, AK or M4? Do you know what? I'm gonna stream some CS this week if Jim Talbot will come play with me. Special friend. And I'll show you all how it's done by a fucking boomer. See if we can actually kill some people. Hey Salients, how's it going, man? Salients is an absolute Chad whose scripts are beautiful, and if you made them public, I'm sure would get more attention than my EMAs. Rarely on Twitch. You should stream Salients. I'd love to watch one of your streams, mate. I've seen your vids, like a couple of execution porn vids. Charlie's the inspiration, I wish. I gave you some table logic. Play Dota and stream? Yeah, do it, mate. That sounds good. Yeah. I mean, is it Marouche? He did PoE and streamed Bitcoin scalping, which is a level of multitasking and chatness that I can only aspire to. Are we short on anything? I'm not short on anything just yet, mate. Not for me. And the last time I said that, we had almost the exact same setup of this breakout, and I said, "Oh, I'm not short on shit," and then it went like that. So take that with a pinch of salt that it comes with. Hope you're not the type of the guy who runs around the map with the crosshair looking at the floor, mate. I used to be semi good at CS 1.6. I'll have you know, and that shows you my age as well. CS 1.6, not even source. Okay, no. Is the dream dead, Ruck? No, the dream is not dead. Not yet. How do you use the EMA cross for a setup? I don't use it for a setup, mate. I mean, to be honest with you, it's just it's a couple of EMAs. I know TraderXO uses this and talks about it. It was merely something I coded up for other people, and it's the same with like the KCBs. You know, I coded them up for Jim, who was using KCBs and wanted to put alerts on them. And the altcoin Psycho OBV stuff again is for him. The Easy Index Builder was basically something that Osaka tweeted about. I've probably said his name wrong. Osaka? Yeah, that's how you say it, isn't it? So yeah, it's just I just build things for people. I've got no real, and actually the extreme volume stuff is for Magus, so Ah, I'm building. But yeah, like I don't use the ME trend CrossFit setups. I do use it as confluence to start challenging my own personal bias. So, you know, if I'm sat here going, oh, I need to be a macro bull and I should be super risk on and we are in the start of a new trend, you know, this, it just tells you you're a fucking idiot, basically. You know, we haven't even reclaimed a 4-hour trend on Bitcoin. You know, fine from a risk-reward perspective, but not necessarily from an expectancy one. So, yeah, it's odd. But if you can make trades off it, you know, there are some very profitable EMA traders out there. And I think, actually Sal did a great post yesterday, I think it was, that was, you know, stick to what you're good at and what makes sense and how you can read the market and how you can interpret it. Like, to me, momentum, levels, simply, you know, the concept of what price is fair price, fair value. And being a former accountant, that's kind of a principle that's drummed into you. I enjoy the combination of the two, and then beta. You know, strength, pure strength, particularly because I'd rather play alts with smaller size than BTC. What's your favourite CS setup? What do you mean? My favourite CS setup? Is chat recorded and reposted or just videos? So yeah, that's on the chat forever now, mate. Immortalised, I'm afraid. Immortalised. I might even create an NFT and immortalise it on the blockchain and on OpenSea. That's it. I'd say Coinbase NFT as well, but let's be honest, there's fuck all volume there. Shall I try making double MACD, one with Bitcoin and one with the alt? That sounds good. Yeah? I'll give it a go. I do genuinely want some stuff to build. As much as people fucking meme about building in a bear market, I genuinely love it. And I think there is, I think there's edge to be had in Delta options, Delta altcoin options in particular. I think there's edge to be had in, how do I put it? Into systemizing more of what I'm picking out of this. Because my system for picking up alts that are in play is a bit basic, and it works on a very risk-on environment, but that's because it's fucking easy for everybody. Yes, sorting my information flow over the next couple of weeks is going to be my priority. How close to the monitor is my face when I'm gaming? It's right up next to it. It's like nose touching. Are you telling me you don't trade like that? You telling me people trade like sat back? My nose is pressing on that screen. That's how you get, you know, extra 1% win rate. Anyway, I've completely gone off. As is standard. But there's not really too much more from me, to be honest. I'm probably going to take some off my RSI position, unless we can see one final push. That would be rather nice. But even this actually it's a way that you can potentially use, you know, the EMA as a take profit. Again, I don't, but you know, in theory, we're just above that 4-hour trend. Like, I'm just trying to give you ideas, right? Like I said, I don't use it. What's the bottom indicator? It's that KZX RSI div. So I've had several attempts at coding RSI divs, and this is one of the better ones. That obviously I did not code, but it just identifies extremes very nicely very colourful, and it does an okay job. It's not too bad. But yeah, that's kind of it for me. I haven't got loads more to say this week. It's I feel like I've the one observation is that the last 2 weeks have been pretty much the same in terms of how they've started, which I think I covered earlier in terms of that's Monday, and I feel that pain because I tend not to trade weekends. I try and spend the weekends with my family and my daughter, and not be 100 times addiction level into trading and the market. There are times for it, and I would say this is definitely not one of those times for it. Enjoy the sun, touch some grass, all of that kind of wonderful stuff. Set a TO up for Monday. Here's your open automatic buys. It's not the worst strategy in the world, judging by a sample of 2. But yeah, genuinely, I don't think you're going to miss too much over the next couple of months. I think, if you look at the emotional reactions of everyone about that move there, it's quite disproportionate to the realities of perhaps taking the short side or everything back here. So yeah, unless anyone's got any questions, I might wrap it up there. Keep it a sweet hour. No, ask me anything, and I will do my best to answer. Or not. Fair enough. I was obviously so articulate. Link to the playlist. Yeah, that's the real fucking alpha that everyone tunes into. Is the piano playlist. No, cheers guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for the scripts. Yeah, mate, you're more than welcome. And like I said, if anyone's got any suggestions for improvements for them or whatever, drop me a DM. It's not going to be the first thing I do, I'm not going to lie, but I do enjoy tinkering, and I do genuinely enjoy helping people. So if setting an alert on something might help you in your trading, then yeah, I'm sure I'll get around to it at some point. Does reading order book help with trading? Yeah, I definitely think it does. I mean, it doesn't make sense for me personally, in the sense of it doesn't click with my personality. If you want to understand order flow a bit more, like I said, check out Trader Magus. He streams and he can go through his understanding of the order book, and he can show you probably a couple of setups that he's taken just basically off the order flow. Sorry, not just the order book, but the order flow, or some oddities in the book itself. So yeah. Ta-ta for now. Yeah, thank you all guys. And yeah, if you've got any questions, wrap up the Bitcoin stream and get on a CS stream, I'd be very tempted. I'll do one this week if you promise to tune in. Yeah, have a good day guys. And yeah, peace out for now. Cheers everyone.